So the recorder's on whenever you're ready. Take your time.
This is John Kippen from KippenCoaching.com, and you are listening to Vroom, Veer with Jeff Smith, reminding you that being different is your superpower.
Well done, sir. Thank you very much.
That's my radio voice.
That's your radio. That's your DJ voice.
Gary Owens.
I remember Gary Owens.
You're old enough. I was saying you're old enough to remember Gary Owens.
Yeah.
How did that sound?
That was great. That was perfect. Okay, let me hit stop. I'll be right back.
Are you ready to thoughtfully steer away from your revved up, frenzied, and far too often scripted life? Then welcome to Vroom, Veer with Jeff Smith, where he guides you down the road differently traveled by sharing unique experiences with guests who have managed to shift away from a life stuck on cruise control and veered their way into a more authentic and fulfilling one in all sorts of interesting and kind of remarkable ways. Get ready to Vroom, Veer with your differently traveled road chauffeur, Jeff Smith.
Seidel, thank you so much for being on Vroom, Veer, and welcome to the show. How's it going?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic, Jeff. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to chat.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a blast. So you have many URLs, the Seidel Agency.com, gentsjourney.co, and many more, I'm sure, that I don't know about. But talk a little bit about what you're most excited about, life, the universe, and everything today.
Yeah, thanks for asking. I just had a conversation with a friend of mine this morning. He is an artist. His name is Tony Wavy. We're in Lexington, Kentucky, and we were talking about when we're creative or we're artists, we often have different outlets to allow our purpose to take shape.
Sure.
And so that's why I have a multitude of outlets. I have my agency, which I'm excited about. We're doing really well. The Seidel Agency. We've done some campaigns with Coca-Cola. One of the things that I'm really passionate about is the men's group that I created. About 5 years ago, my mom was diagnosed with cancer, and so I was her caretaker. It was, this is a pandemic. We all remember the pandemic. Everything basically shut down, and it was a tough time. But what came out of that was a TEDx talk. I was able to share my experience of using the hidden power of grief to grow. What we go through, we grow through. And so Gents Journey came out of that. I'm very excited. Right now we have 3 founders on our Gents Journey team, and we have a Substack with 6,000 men, and we're slowly growing and building. But to be able to create a tool and a safe community for men while we stare down the barrel of mental health is something that I get goosebumps to talk about. We created a card deck. I have it right here. It's actually called the Journey Deck, which has poignant questions that came out of our meeting that we can ask men so that we can open up and build bonds and be more vulnerable. And I took this to a fatherhood initiative meeting, and they're in this fatherhood initiative. These guys are in and out of jail. They are either through rehab. And one of the questions on the cards was, who do you have to forgive? And the gentleman, he cried, and he was tattooed from head to toe. He was a bad looking dude, and he's done a lot of crazy things, but he is working on himself. And when he cried because he hasn't seen his kids in 2 years, and he said, look, I need to forgive myself. Sure. When I forgive myself, I unlock my future, and I will bring my family back around and find purpose in my life. And every time I share that, I have it right here. You probably can't see it, but I have goosebumps.
I believe you. Yeah.
But I'm super excited about that, and I'm also excited for myself. I did a TEDx talk, but I'm continuing to do keynotes about the power of connection, and it's just great for me to get out and see people face to face, eye to eye, heart to heart, and it's just been going fantastically. And so those are 2 things that I'm really pumped about.
Sounds like you've got a lot going on, but you're moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
When you can say things that you've done, in a work kind of environment and you get goosebumps, you're moving in there.
Yeah.
It's a good sign that you're moving in the right direction. Right.
They say if you want to get something done, give it to a busy man. So I keep that time management pretty locked up.
Right.
But I do notice if I get up in the morning routine is crucial. If I get up in the morning and I go to the gym, everything else falls in place.
Yeah. You got to stay on that schedule. I've learned
Yeah.
something too. Like you're probably like a podcast addict myself, like me. Like that's where I get like all my new like personal development, like big rocks, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I watched Eric Thomas. I don't know if you know
Eric
him.
Thomas.
Eric
Okay.
Thomas, the hip hop preacher.
Oh, lovely.
He was talking about leave your mark this morning. And I was
Okay.
leave your mark. He's like, you may have a lot of money, you may have a lot of experiences, but
Right.
at the end of the day, you want to leave a legacy. You want to leave your mark. And that's where Martin Luther King,
Right.
he talked about Jesus and,
Sure.
whoever, but you don't want to take this to the grave. You really want to deliver an impact. And so that's what we
Yeah.
do in our work. So I agree
I
with you
like it.
100%.
Well, yeah, like I learned like these micro little things. You know, the thing about growth is it literally never stops, right? But like lately for me, I don't know about for you. It sounds like you've got like lots of stuff going on. So, but you're also dialed in, right? Like that morning routine, right? Like if you want to have a show up and do for whatever your purpose happens to be, it starts with you, right? You've got to be on your game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my co-founders of Gents Journey, he's a big self-help nonfiction guru. He
Yeah.
talks a lot about eating your morning pies.
Uh-huh.
So the P, something physical, get those 10
Yeah.
minutes,
Yeah.
something intellectual, something emotional, call your mom, connect with your kids, and then something
Yeah.
spiritual, really connect to it. And if you start there,
Oh yeah.
you're taking your first step. No matter where you're at, you can move forward confidently. And I think that's really crucial, to move forward with intention and capture that one big thing. Do that first. Get that out of the way.
Yes. Oh, but that's like key to everything in the military is like, what do you have to do before you leave today? Do that first. You know,
Sure.
that's always this is like number one. You make sure you don't get killed. Okay, I lived.
Yep.
Let's move on. Anyway, so this is Vroom Vroom Veer. I don't know if you know what show you're on, but we got to go back in time and talk about how the hell Steve got here. So where did you grow up and, where did your journey start? Yeah.
So my dream, still my dream, has always been to be an amazing father.
Okay.
And so I wanted to have children. I wanted to help the vulnerable child in me who felt like he wasn't good enough. I'll get back to him in a second, and
Right.
future generations to really change the world for the better. So I was born in Utica, New York, and when I was 1, my parents divorced, and that really set the stage for who I am today.
Okay.
Because I was in the middle of these two, my mom and my dad, these two individuals, and in that positioning, as I grew up, I felt as if I wanted to try and connect and bring them together and be the conduit. So that created who I am as a connector, often in between and making sure that hopefully they see eye to eye, whether it's finances, emotional, or trips, or weekends here,
that's a
weekend
big
there.
lift for a little kid.
It is, man. It's a lot of lifting. And now I call myself a recovering people pleaser.
Right.
And it took me a while to get through that, almost like AI. But so in those moments, you place this power or the power that you have outside of yourself. I want validation. I want them to love me. I want them to do
Right.
things that I feel a sense of self-worth.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to really address that. And then setting boundaries and loving myself and, not going elsewhere because we can't even trust our own thoughts. Why should I worry about other people's thoughts?
Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in a group with Pat Croce, who's the former owner of the Sixers. He says, when you can control your thoughts, you can control the weather. Your thoughts are not you. Let them flow through.
Right.
And so essentially I grew up in Philadelphia. We moved to Philly when I was just over 1. I grew up with my stepfather and my mom.
Okay.
And my stepdad, he was there. He was kind of like my dad. My dad was often traveling. The boomer generation, he was at one job his whole life. Now it's totally different. It's so fractional. We have 5, 6 different jobs. And so in our men's group, we talk a lot about this. Like, what does masculinity mean to you? How are you as a dad versus your father was? And it's totally different. It's shifted, whether it has to do with, being more vulnerable, technology, having multiple positions. But I grew up outside Philly and I learned really quickly that you're only as good as your word. Hard work pays off. And so as I grew up,
What's it like growing up in Philly? Philly from the outside seems like a scary place sometimes.
Yeah. Well, so a lot of people call me out. I'll call myself out. I was in the suburbs Norristown. My
Okay.
dad was in Norristown. My mom was in Doylestown, which is just about an hour outside, still relatively close to Philadelphia. But they have that underdog mentality. You look at Rocky, and I have
Right.
that
Right. Right.
instilled
Right.
in me
Yeah.
as well, right? Under promise, over deliver. So that's a lot of who I am.
I
But
love that.
at the
That's yeah.
heart,
Yeah. Yeah. That's
at the heart of who we are, it's about community. It's about, working hard. It's a blue collar mentality, but it's about putting in that work. And so I've never shied away from putting in work.
mm,
And that's formulated a lot of who I am. I like to talk about grit, being grateful, resilient, having integrity and trust. And that built who I am. And that's where I think that connection to myself, my community, and my company that I keep is crucial towards how I've gone through life. And that really set the stage. And that's why I created an agency. My friends were always like, dude, you know everybody in every field, or you can get things done.
yeah.
You seem like you can connect individuals to not only their story, but, partners or different outlets. And that's how the agency came about.
Wow. So like, what did you do? Like, say, like, right out of college? Did you go to college? I should start there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was good in science and
Oh, right,
mathematics,
right.
and
Engineer. Now I remember seeing that. Right.
engineer. So I
Engineer.
went to CB West High School. It was the same high school that Pink went to. I actually used to play Pink the singer. I played tennis with her brother.
Oh, wow.
But I was 5'3" when I graduated, and my dad was a late bloomer. I was, I think, the third shortest person in the school. And so that coupled with the people pleaser, I had the ability to connect with people and to talk with them, but I
Okay.
never really found my tribe or my people. I would watch
Really?
Dateline or 2020 with my mom on Friday nights. And so it was like a little bit of bashfulness, a
Mm,
little bit lacking in terms of self-esteem and confidence. And so my mom and stepfather said, "Look, you're really good at science. You've done all these AP classes. Just go to, something science and math." So I did. I went for engineering. I grew between my senior year of graduation and my first year at Penn State. And then I joined a fraternity. I was a social chair, and it was like I shedded all this weight and baggage, and now
right.
I had my armor because I felt worthy.
As a
Um,
dude, though, it's really hard to like interact when you're like people pleaser. I get that, right? I get that
yeah,
because I was the people pleaser personality too. Don't know why. I need some therapy, but
yeah,
right, right. That's just how you grow up, right? I think I'm getting better. But like I did, like I went through that stage too of like being short, and short kind of means shy. I think when you're a kid, because you're
yeah,
just physically not equal to your peers at that point,
yeah. You
right?
see
Yeah,
everybody sprouting up.
yeah,
When is it going to
exactly.
be my
Yeah,
time?
when is it going to be my turn? Right.
There's a lot of unknowns.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
addition to that, I struggled with hearing issues when I was in
Okay.
kindergarten. I couldn't
Right.
really hear. They thought I wasn't paying attention, but I had to put tubes in my ears. I had tubes put in my ears 7 times.
Wow.
And so there were these other things, the divorce. I had white lab coat syndrome. Every time I would see a doctor, I'd get all freaked out because of the treatments that they would have to do. So there was a lot of things revolving
You
and
had
taking
some some
shape that
some trauma
ultimately
going on there. Yeah.
impacted me and how I moved forward. But eventually I had to just take ownership of it all. I remember when I went to college, I had a desire to perform and to act. I've always loved movies. And I remember going to
Wow.
my first audition at Penn State. We had to do a monologue, and I was like, "Oh, okay, let me try this out." I forgot the whole thing, and I got so embarrassed I just left the room.
Oh
I just
wow.
walked out. And so continued with engineering. I ended up getting a job with Motorola in Austin, Texas. I had an internship. They gave me a full-time job. Like I had a semester left in 2000. So I went down there and worked for Motorola, but I still had this love. I had the science and mathematics, but I had this love of creative expression.
Mm.
And eventually I got laid off and I said, now's my time. I always wanted to act and I moved to New York and pursued entertainment. And so
Wow.
I said,
Okay.
I went to a 2-year acting conservatory with Bill Esper. I learned all about acting techniques, movement techniques, book, Saturday Night Live, Guiding Light, couple commercials. And so then I was in the
Saturday Night
acting.
Live. What did you do on Saturday Night Live?
So for Saturday Night Live, I wasn't a big star, but they bring people that come on board to support the cast. And so there was a sketch with Antonio Banderas. It was a soccer sketch. They do this thing called a rehearsal previous to,
Yeah.
like prior to the actual show.
Yeah.
And my sketch actually hit the cutting room floor.
Right.
So it didn't make prime time.
Right. But that
And so
happens
I
to
was
so many bits. I mean, like
so many,
so
and it
many.
ended up
Right.
on the cutting room floor. I'm still trying to find it. I was with Antonio Banderas, was one of the soccer players,
Wow.
and that often happens. I was on a guiding light, and I had
Were
a
you
big
just a
scene.
cast member, or were you in the writers' room too, or is that like
No,
everybody's in the
I
writers'
was
room?
just supporting cat. I
Okay.
wasn't quote unquote like one of the featured actors, but I
Okay.
was in the actual sketch for. I
Interesting.
was a
Yeah, yeah. But
and
that's
so
an amazing experience. Just to say
yeah, it was.
you were there for one of
That,
those weeks that are insanely
that
crazy.
was one of my dreams. Like I wanted to actually host Saturday Night Live.
Me
That was my
too.
dream as a
But
kid.
you have
So
to
I
be
ended
like a
up.
famous person first before they ask you to host.
Yeah,
It's easier
you
to
got
be
it.
on the cast, right?
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
So did that, and it was quite an experience to do that. But then I took the left brain and the right brain and figured, okay, hey, how can I use the analytical mind? I was an industrial engineer at Penn State. It's all about process improvement.
Right.
I was working in the semiconductor fab where they made microprocessing chips for cell phones.
Okay.
So I literally have to put this full suit on, white
Yep.
suit,
Yep.
so
The
that you
bunny
couldn't
suit.
get any.
Yeah.
A bunny suit, yep.
Yeah.
So you can't contaminate any of the silicon
Right.
wafers because they won't work.
Right.
And it was fun, but it wasn't social enough. I wasn't meeting with people. I was in Austin, Texas in the early 2000s, which was great. South by Southwest first started,
Right.
Austin City Limits. Then I got laid off and I went to New York and pursued entertainment and then was tired of giving my power away, but was auditioning and getting turned down and showing up like I talked about earlier. Just moving forward with grit, resilience, just showing up, failing forward, just keep on putting myself out there, just keep going. If this is what I want, I got to keep going.
Right.
And then sold a show for YouTube, and then it was 24 episodes with a friend of mine, and that led to creating my own agency and figuring out, hey, YouTube content, people will pay for this. Okay, great. How can I incorporate brands and work with organizations
Okay.
when they start to? And so we've seen it all. We've seen the rise of social media. We've seen video recordings like we're doing now. Now we're seeing
Right.
AI. So I've been fortunate enough to be a part of a lot of those emerging technologies.
That's fun. You've
Yeah.
had like what they say, a wide breadth of experience.
Yes. A lot of them.
I remember Motorola chips because I was an Amiga guy when I was a kid, and they had like the Motorola RISC chip, and everybody loved it, and it went away. And
Oh, it's going to come back. They're just going to shoot it right in your arm. It'll be back soon.
you want to scare all the people.
But I remember being at Motorola. One of the guys in my Gents Journey group. His father unfortunately passed in 9/11, and he created a foundation. It's called Hold the Door Foundation because his dad was last seen holding the door open for his colleagues during 9/11. And I remember walking into Motorola during 9/11, and we had our two-way pagers and seeing all of this happen. And there's some of these moments that we've been able to experience, whether it's the 2008 stock market crash, the pandemic of 2020. Like I don't know if I want to say been fortunate enough, but we've gone through these things which have shaped our lives,
Yeah.
and we've had to find ways to use them as teaching moments. And that's what I
Right.
do with everything.
Right.
How can we use this to better learn from it or to position myself to move forward and rewrite that story that we tell ourselves or the story that we share?
Let's talk a little bit about like the origin story. I know you talked a little bit about it briefly, but this Gents Journey group really
Sure.
sounds like interesting. I've
Yeah.
had other folks that kind of have fallen into this, and it seems similar to you. It's like something that sort of like you started, but it wasn't necessarily meant to be a thing, and then it became a thing. So let's talk
Yeah.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think with anything, entrepreneurs, or if you find something that you're passionate about, and that's when I work with a lot of, C-suites founders and getting a better understanding of what you love or what you're passionate about, like a Venn diagram, your passions, your skill sets, and then ultimately maybe what your purpose is and where they come together. That's usually a sweet spot to move forward. But oftentimes, if you take inventory of what do you love to do, or what are you doing that you lose all sense of time, or it's giving you value, and you're not even doing it because you want to make money. You're
Right.
doing it because you either need to do it or you love to do it.
Or it gives you
And
those
so
tingles kind of thing.
you get those. I got them
Goosebumps.
right. Yeah, the goosebumps.
Right.
So during 2020, I was living in LA. I started my agency. we decided to relocate to Lexington, Kentucky, much different from LA. My wife is from here. And so I have a virtual company, my virtual agency. All my team is all over the United States. I moved to a new city. I had no friends. My employees were nowhere to be found because we're all virtual. Business basically shut down. I had like one client maybe that I was holding on to, or two clients. I can't quite remember. And then I had a 1 month old baby. We relocated. I pretty much had every major event. And then my mom called me and said they found something. And so she had cancer. And
Right.
then it was stage 4, at which point it was like, man.
When they
And so
found it, it was stage 4.
it was stage 4. It was in her lymph nodes and it was stage 4 cancer. And so that's kind of tough to come back from. And
Yeah.
so I said, fortunately, I wasn't in California. I was born in upstate New York, so that's where she was living. So she came to live with us so that I was caretaking for her.
Mm.
We had a 1 month old baby I was trying to take care of. I was trying
So
to
you were
provide for my
doing all
family.
this while you were locked down, it seems like.
Locked down, and I was doing Zoom calls just like this call, but
Yeah.
I was doing them in my laundry room because my mom, we had just relocated and I was running the business from this extra bedroom, but my mom needed a place to stay for us to take care of her.
Right.
So the only option was, okay, right now I'm just going to have to take these calls from my laundry room. So I got
It
my
sounds like your
logo.
whole life was like a contingency operation at that point.
It
It
was
was just
it
like,
was
you just
the
like,
most challenging moment of my life. And so
yeah, for sure.
I don't know where the logo is, but I would plaster this logo right over my shoulder in with the laundry with the lawn the washer and the dryer right next to me, like in this corner.
Yeah.
And so, and I was giving so much away, and I had to take a moment and I like, okay, like we talked about earlier, you need to love yourself first, and that could spill out. But I wasn't. I was like a shell of who I was, and I needed to figure it out because nobody else was going to figure it out for me. And I was like, okay, I need something. I need to connect. And so I had a friend. His name's Pat Croce. He used to own the Sixers. He does this thing called Meditation Hill Sangha, and you meet once a week, talk about living in the moment. You talk
Mm.
about the story that you're telling yourself. All these practical tools. And he was saying, look, you got to come from happiness, not for happiness, because I was
Mm.
trying to find happiness outside of who I really was.
That's
And
that
so I
people
knew that
pleaser
I needed
person
a
again. Yeah,
community.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so I talk about it in my TEDx talk. I reached out to my growth friends and I wanted to find entrepreneurs because I knew if they were entrepreneurs like me, having started my own business, flexible schedule, ideally they were fathers because I was a father as well, struggling with some of those things. And then also somebody that was a risk taker so that would know all of the things that we need to do, being comfortable with the uncomfortable. And so we started meeting week by week. And that's how Gents Journey came out. And we're still doing it 5 months later, but we started to realize that, we all go through these moments of loss. One guy lost his business. Another guy, lost a dear friend. I lost my mom.
Mm.
Another guy was getting sued for, over some intellectual property. But we have these attachments or these things that we hold on to. But really, it's about being present in the moment and continuing to go through what we grow through. And so slowly but surely, I restored the sense of who I was. And I talk about it in my TEDx talk. 3 steps: reconnect to who I was and what matters most, rebuild relationships because we're a product of the 5 most closest people. And then how can we reclaim that narrative or reclaim that sense of purpose? And I realized when I looked around, there weren't a lot of tools. You could go to some counseling or therapy, and I did, but
Felt
it just didn't
disconnected.
work. It didn't work. I don't know how else to explain it, but I
Right.
did. I went to therapy. But in that group, we had something in common and we could chat about it and it was safe and we built these relationships and we built a bond. And so then we noticed that there weren't a lot of tools out there for men with mental health issues. If you go
Mm.
to Barnes and Noble, you see books for women, you'll see books for expectant mothers, you'll see,
Right.
women's health.
Right.
And
And
so
then there's
we,
that primal scream group that like
yeah, the one where you get in there and the rage group where
you
you
take your
go in there and
shoes off and you go out in the woods and scream.
yeah.
I don't need to go. But
And it's like,
that if that's for you, that's great. It doesn't seem like my kind of thing.
there's all sorts of like different types of things. Yeah. So, and during the pandemic, none of those things existed. So I was
Right.
like, okay, we did the group, and we tried to create some of these other groups, and we felt that it was a little bit harder to scale. So we created a really cool card deck with
Right.
questions that enable men to connect on a deeper level.
So give us a couple of examples of some of the those questions or the conversation
So this
starters.
is
Yeah, yeah.
the deck here.
Yeah. There you go.
So this is the we call it the journey deck because Gents Journey, we're all on a journey, right? It's not about the destination, we're journey. And part of being successful is asking the right questions or just bonding is if you look at any movie, every movie there's a hero in the journey and there's the sidekick, whether it's the lover or the pet. And so
Right.
it's all about friendship. We need a
Right.
friend to take us
Yeah.
through those difficult moments.
Right.
And so we created this question card deck, and then we also have a community where we meet. But I'd love for you to tell me to stop and you can answer one.
Stop.
This question
It's
is
going to be really hard. I have to do it on the spot.
no, there's some easy ones, some hard ones. You've got kind of an easy one. How do you
we
show
show
appreciation?
appreciation?
It's almost like a love language, if you will.
Yeah. Oh, that's a toughie. I'm a big What are the big ones? Well, I try to figure out what the person wants. That goes back to the people pleaser.
The people pleaser.
Yeah, the people
Yeah.
pleaser. Like, how can I help you? Right? Sometimes, like, I think, like, probably my favorite thing to do is shut the hell up and listen, like that, and then just, when you can really tune in to somebody and just give them space to talk and know that I'm not going to judge you, that kind of thing. Now, I'm not very good at acts of service. Like, I know a lot of love languages. Like, did I ask you to do that? Is usually my reply.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, well-
don't act of service me, please.
We talk a lot about it in our group. It's like we want to get out of our head and into our heart, separate ourselves 18 inches. And so, like, one of the things we have we have a whole community of 6,000 men on Substack. But one of the things we talk a lot about for showing appreciation is yes, you need to know who your audience is and what will resonate with them, and that all comes with connection or understanding who they are. And one thing from a business perspective is doing a handwritten note will speak volumes, and or even just reaching out to friends and giving them a voice note, because then there's context involved. Too often in today's day and age, we'll be like, send a text message or send an email. And now you have no idea if AI wrote it or if it's Chat GPT. But if you get a handwritten note, it could still have been written by AI. But you went to put the time involved, or if you send a voice note, I try consistently to try and send a few of our friends or colleagues once a day. And then also asking them, we started this thing that my wife started, but we do it as well, is we reach out to our family members and ask them their favorite part of their day. And just by doing that, they can share things. They can be as small as I went out and had sushi, or talk a little bit about, different adventures. But oftentimes we lose sense of these relationships or the people around us. And sometimes they can be taken in a heartbeat and we don't realize that. So just staying focused and really giving attention towards the things that matter most around us.
Showing appreciation is like very personal too. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's it's interesting.
And so that's basically what this card deck is. It's, the scariest situation you've been in. What's one positive affirmation or mantra? When's a time something bad turned out to be good? What are 3 things you're grateful for? It's just a handful of questions.
Something bad turning into something good is like bread and butter for me.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a good outlook for life in general too. Because whenever anything bad happens, the Buddhists are big on this, right? Right? It's like, don't stab yourself over and over and over again. Just take the hurt, take the lesson, move on. It's like the second wounding, right? It's like you keep beating yourself up in that shame cycle kind of idea. Yeah,
I have a hard time with that sometimes, but that's where I ultimately was able to figure that out with like my TEDx talk of, when my mom passed away, I've always wanted to do a TEDx talk. I built the Gents Journey group. A lot of these things wouldn't have come out of that without it, or having a restored sense of, I don't know if you have children, but when your parents pass away, it's almost like you're in the war of life, or, you're moving forward and now you're the next line of defense. It's like, okay, now I need to really pay attention to what I'm doing. What are my actions? Am I wasting time? Like, how can I build a legacy? Because you're wanting to leave behind for your children. And all these things come from that. And it's, every single time something negative happens,
right,
if we can strip it away and figure out how can I use this for good, or how can I use it to move forward, like what's the teaching moment that came from this, I think is really effective.
My LinkedIn account got hacked like yesterday.
Is that why I got all those strange pictures from you?
I don't think you're on my LinkedIn,
No,
but I fakedly, somebody sent a bunch of messages to people that I kind of know and some people I really know, connections and friends. But it was all the same gist, right? But it was bad and it was a pain in the ass and I had to fix it. But the thing that was kind of cool was I hadn't talked to a lot of these people in years.
yeah.
It wasn't a good excuse to talk to them, but I did. And that was kind of nice,
Yeah.
Oh, and by the
I love
way,
that.
LinkedIn security sucks. Sorry, LinkedIn.
I'm going to use that. Or, when your phone shuts down and you're updating your phone and, I try to upgrade the iPhone to the iOS, whatever it was, and it didn't
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
And then I had to re-upload every single app. It was painful. It took 3, 4, or 5 hours, but it made me be more intentional on the apps that I'm using, the things that
That's
I'm
right.
putting on there.
Right.
What's taking my time away? Is this necessary? And
Right.
so I think that there's always, I'm a big fan of the silver lining and the silver linings playbook, which is about the Philadelphia Eagles, my football team.
That was a great Super Bowl that you guys just won, by the way. Oh, you know what? I was going to ask you as a Philly kind of native, like grew up there. So I didn't know this, but that city of brotherly love went all the way back to like that time in U.S. history when like there were slaves in the South, but not in the North. And if they could make it to Philly, they were okay. Did that any of that sort of resonate when you were growing up there? Did you get that story? Because I heard
story?
about it later. Yeah, the Underground
Growing up, I did
Railroad.
not hear that story. No,
You didn't
I mean,
know? Okay, all right. See,
the story that I know growing up is we did Hands Across America.
I remember
If you
Hands
look
Across America. Yeah.
Yeah, all these things. And so we all were doing our Hands Across America and we were holding our hands and then we would look over and people were like pickpocketing,
That's so
taking wallets out while both your hands are out and you can't defend yourself. So
that sounds Philly. The Philly
that sounds a little bit more Philly-like for sure. But they have many fond memories. My first concert at Veterans Stadium with the Jackson 5.
Wow. Okay.
And growing up, so I had this tattoo here. I've unfortunately lost, I grew up with my stepfather and my mom and my dad as well. I've lost all my parents. But growing up, I would watch the Eagles with my stepdad. And I love Fred Barnett. If you know who he was number 86. He was Randall Cunningham's primary target.
Okay.
And so when I was working at Motorola, I mentioned Motorola. He was sick. He got cancer, and he passed away. And I had to go back to his funeral. Obviously, I get on the airplane and I go back to his funeral. And my favorite player on the Eagles is on the back row of the airplane.
Oh wow.
That was my bond with my stepdad, was watching the Eagles play. And my favorite player was on the airplane. And then flash forward not too long ago, I worked at a startup. My friend got a job opportunity to work for the Eagles. She's now head of marketing for the Eagles.
Oh wow.
And my father got sick later on in, 2015, I think, and she was going to roll the red carpet out. And my dad didn't ultimately make it. But the day that we were going to go to the Eagles game, which we did, my dad couldn't make it. Somebody took a shower at my sister's house and there was an imprint of an eagle right on the mirror on the day that we were going to go roll out the red carpet. And we used to always bond over sports. And so I got this tattoo of the Philadelphia Eagle with my stepfather and my real dad as a reminder.
Yeah.
And I think those serendipitous moments, like we talked about before, is when something bad turned out to be good. Like there's always something positive that we can take from that.
Yeah.
And we can remember that. And I talk about this in my TEDx talk, but Rumi says goodbyes are for those who love with their eyes, because for those who love with their heart and soul, there's no such thing as separation. And so in this world, we become attached to so many things, but at the end of the day, it's all about love. And that love never goes anywhere, but these little reminders of serendipitous moments, they remind us to come back to that and just to realize to be present and to just share in that love.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Thanks.
So talk a little bit about it sounds like you have like a meditation or a mindfulness practice.
Yeah. So every week I do this. Like I mentioned before, Pat Croce, he runs a group where we get together. He does a quick talk, and then we all share, different experiences and stories in and around that talk. But when my mom got sick, my friend who works for the Eagles that I just mentioned,
Yeah.
we started talking about, do you do anything spiritual? This is right around the time that I was struggling with my mom being sick and caretaking. She's like, you may want to check out this Meditation Hill Sangha. She's like, it's run by Pat Croce, and he was a childhood hero of mine because he owned the Sixers. I also went to school with his daughter at Penn State. But it's like, okay, let me check this thing out. And that really changed a lot for me and just brought a lot of these things that I wasn't aware of, or these negative thoughts, or the movie of me, or the stories that we're telling ourselves, or these
Yeah.
limiting beliefs, and finding different ways to hack that, like 3-word mantras to remind ourselves to, be in the now, or naming the voice in the head that we often listen to, but may not necessarily be beneficial. And so I have the people pleasing Peter in my head who's always trying to people. And so I'm like, okay, Peter, just settle down here.
I think we all have a people pleasing Peter, or
People pleasing the triple P.
name yours, whatever yours is named. Yeah, it could be something else, but yes,
Yeah.
we all
And
have
my
the voices
friend,
in our head.
or maybe on the flip side of that, it could be like powerful Peter, and he's the guy who just doesn't take any SHIT from anybody.
Right.
But that's been really helpful for me to get a sense of awareness. And I have a lot of anxiety and neurospiciness in my life as well. And so sometimes I'll go and rethink, oh, like you said before, how could I have done this or differently? But at the end of the day, it's moving forward and doing the best I can to stay in the moment. And so I talk a lot with my kids.
Live in
My
the
kids like
now.
live in the now.
Why?
Like
Why a nickel?
I don't know why she chose the nickel, but she put a little nickel there and she wrote it and she's like, live in the now. I'm like, all right, I love it.
Oh, that's awesome.
But to me, that was like to do a lot of those things in the morning meditation and going on walks and getting these thoughts out of my head. As an actor, there's a really cool book called The Artist's Way. Have
I've
you ever
heard
heard
of
of
the
it?
Artist's Way. Yeah, the morning
Yeah, by
pages.
Julia Cameron.
Yeah, the
And
morning
so
pages.
she says to do 2 activities to really keep yourself sane. One is a 2-page stream of consciousness every morning because you're
Right.
just getting all that stuff out and you're getting to a place where you're
That's
clear
like
and you're not.
magic. It is. It
It
works really
is.
well. Yeah.
And the artist date where it's no expectations. You go somewhere and you allow yourself to be free, to be present, and to, experience creativity or whatever shows up for you in that moment.
Right.
So I do a lot of those and try to help my daughters and my family continue to do that. And then even in my meetings that we do for the Seidel Agency, I usually use this card deck. We ask a question, we share a little bit about ourselves, and then we set an intention for that day. And I think if you can be intentional, whatever comes up is going to come up. You allow it to come and be like a wave. Let it crash in, but just keep on moving forward. So I think that's really important. And if you're aware of Tim Ferriss, do you know Tim
Oh
Ferriss?
yeah.
Yeah, so he has a book. I
Which
can't
one?
remember
There's a lot of them.
the Mentors book, where he
Tribe of
basic
Mentors.
Tribe of Mentors. Yeah, and
Yeah.
he looks at the things that most successful people do
Yeah. It's a
that
great
haven't
book.
come in the morning routine,
Yep.
walking,
Nailing breakfast.
meditating. What's that?
Nailing breakfast.
Yeah, journaling.
Yes.
Like making sure that you're aware and really paying close attention to what it is that you're doing. Time management, not finding yourself in the busyness, really structuring your day. He
Right.
wrote the book, The 4 Hour Work Week, and too often we find ourselves, replying to emails, doing all this stuff that does nothing,
Yeah. Yeah. One of his
mentally.
mantras was, do your important stuff before you open your email. Because as soon as you start opening your email, then you're getting into that reactive kind of like people pleasing mode. But
Yeah.
now you're sort of like in service again. And then that's when you figure out things like, oh, my LinkedIn has been hacked. I haven't been on there for 3 years, but now I got to deal with that, right? So
Yeah.
it's almost like opening the door to the world as soon as you. But if you like say no, I'm going to spend, a couple hours before I check my email, right? While I'm drinking my
Yeah.
protein shake and my smoothie
And not going
and
right-
my yogurt.
yeah.
And I'm doing my meditation and I'm going to read this book, right? Or do whatever your morning routine is. And then when you're finished, then get into that stuff.
Yeah, I
After
think
you've done
that I
your
couldn't agree
routine.
more. And it's
Yeah.
like going right to your phone first thing in the morning is,
Yeah. Yeah.
We also we talk often in our group, can you put your phone across the room and set your alarm? So A, you don't have the Wi-Fi circling over your head. Who knows what that is, but B, you have to get up and actually go and move forward. Or wearing your gym clothes to bed. So when you get up, you're in your gym clothes and
I
you're
like
going.
that.
Different ways where you
Yeah.
can stack these habits.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, if we can empower ourselves with these really smart habits, that we
Yeah.
don't have to do it all in one big chunk. We just have to take the first step. And so that's what we talk a lot about. Failing forward, take the first step. Action begets motivation.
I'm going to list off a whole bunch of stuff now just because I want to record it for posterity. And then you can tick off whether you've hit these growth opportunities or not. So Tim Ferriss talks a lot about like hot baths or saunas. Have you gotten there yet?
100%. I just took a bath last night.
Yeah, yeah. It's a game changer, dude.
Yeah. The saunas are now exploding. A lot of people are opening these saunas now because
Yeah.
they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
I
we're taking
agree.
hot baths every other night. So the goal is to sit in a bath for 20 minutes at 104 degrees Fahrenheit for 20 minutes. And what is it? They're called heat shock proteins. But you can go check out the health benefits of heat shock proteins at this protocol. But I'll just say, like, what was it? It was like 40% all cause reduction in death rate.
Yeah.
Right. And then
A glass of
60%.
water every morning.
Yeah.
I do a glass of water with a lemon every morning so that
Right.
it can help. You should drink a glass of water, but if it's room temperature, and I don't know
Warm.
whether or not, but I've
Okay.
read studies, having looked with my mom and cancer, it deals with some of the alkaline levels and pH levels. But if you drop a lemon in there, it can really help you start your day.
I've not done that one yet, so thank you.
Check it out. Yeah.
I'm gonna check
Check
that
it out.
out.
Hey,
I've been doing
I'm not a
these.
scientist, but
Yeah,
you can
no,
look
these
into
are
it.
all just little things that I want to share because it was a big, huge rock. So I don't know if you drink, but I drink. But I've decided to only drink like one or two beers like at a time.
Sure.
And
I don't
then
drink
make it,
anymore,
like,
but I used to drink.
good for you. But
Yeah.
okay, just not drinking at all, game changer.
100%.
Like night and
Yeah.
day, night and day. It's like,
The non-alcoholic beers they have out nowadays are pretty tasty, and you
Oh,
can
yeah.
wake up the next morning and be like, "All right, I'm cool."
exactly. Yes, yes. You're getting the experience without the downside, basically. So that was a big rock. Meditation, but not just meditation. I did this. This was also I got from Tim Ferriss. It's an app called The Way, and it's by a Zen master. Happens to be from England. His name's Henry, but it's different than a non sort of like organized meditation. Something like what you did, right? You committed to this sangha.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a weekly group, but at least it's organized, right? You're not just like sitting there by yourself with,
Yeah.
right.
Or
With your
TM.
pen.
I do TM as well. I'm trained in TM. It's 20
Right.
minutes, 2 times a day, or even just a 5 minute. I do something with my daughter. I have it right here. I'll show it to you. These are meditation. It's a meditation
okay.
candle.
Oh,
So you
nice.
literally just light the candle, and you stare at it and just be present.
I love it. That's
Yeah.
great. So this app is a game changer because, Zen's been around for a long time.
Sure.
And you're getting the actual transmission of like, there's a purpose. It's not just sitting there and saying Om. There's an actual purpose there, So I like that. So that was a game changer for me. What else? There was another one. These are all sort of like these big rocks that sort of like just sort of
I want to know what else. I want to know what
have-
the other rocks are. I'm very
have
curious.
they sort of just build on each other and build momentum. So I think it started with the meditation practice. And my father-in-law died in February.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, it was 3 very long trips to Japan over the year. So February, May, and then almost all of August. I think we were in Japan. That's a lot of Japan time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but like that meditation sort of got put on pause when I was in Japan. Like I wish I didn't, but it just never found a place to fit. But then when I got back into it. And then that was like when I was starting to think, it would be better to like not have so much alcohol, right? Maybe I need to like keep doing these hot baths, and they just, they get like this additive momentum kind of thing. There's more that I'm not remembering, but we're getting close to wrapping up, and it's about.
It reminds me as well. I want to say real quickly, kintsugi. You know kintsugi?
I don't know that. What's
Kintsugi is in Japanese culture, I believe, when something is broken and you glue it back together.
Okay.
In which point where you glue it, you can glue it back. When you bring it back together, it's embracing the fact that things that are broken can be just as beautiful, if not better, than things that aren't broken.
Yeah.
And then putting a gold ring where you're glowing it around, but it's embracing the fact that, often in life, like we talked about, things can go wrong or be broken or there's damage, but there's perfection in the imperfection.
Yeah. You can repair. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an interesting concept.
It's real. And we talk a lot of it. And if anybody is listening and they want to be involved in this meditation group, it's totally free. We do it every Sunday at 11 a.m. They can reach out to me.
Is there like a link or something? Okay. All right.
Yeah. It's on Zoom.
Excellent.
It's game changer for me.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So as we're wrapping up, let's talk about how folks can best get in touch with Steven, AKA Steve Seidel.
Yeah, so if you want to connect with me personally, you can go to stevenseidel.com.
Okay.
So that's STEPHENSEIDEL.com. That same username across social media. But if you go to stevenseidel.com/media, I have a really cool tool. If you're out there and you're really trying to get clear on your story and share your story and your expertise in your journey, we do a lot of PR, but this is a great way. There's journalists and experts that are looking for, individuals just like you. Your story matters. And there's 4 platforms. And then if you want to be on podcasts too, we have that. And then for anybody, if maybe you're a man out there who's wanting a safe community or wanting to be with like-minded individuals, you can check out gentsjourney.co. You did a good job on that. gentsjourney.co/join.
There is
and that'll take you
it's
towards,
not the com.
Yeah.
The com
gentsjourney.co/join. And then that's our Substack. And it's totally free. We have, premium content where we have packing for purpose, different ways where you can understand your purpose. We have exercises on better relationships with your wife or your loved ones. And we have the 7 pillars of manhood and lots of great resources. And then the card deck as well. But if there's somebody that wants to connect, would love to chat. Like I said, happy to connect you to our Sangha where we do, thought enlightenment, whether you subscribe to Buddha, God, Allah, whatever. It's all about living in the moment and really just being mindful of how you can be present in this present moment, because that's all that really matters. Just
Good on you.
I'll leave you with this quote. I don't know who said it. I should figure this out because I say it all the time. But it was in my mom's kitchen. And to the world, you might be one person. But to one person, you might be the world. So we all have these experiences. And if you can figure out ways to share that story with others, you can inspire others. And your experience, your life, your community, it all matters. So sure to honor that. And Jeff, I appreciate you having me on.
This was a blast. Steve/Steven.
Yeah. Jeffrey. Thank you, Jeffrey. And if I happen to get any LinkedIn messages, even if we're not connected on LinkedIn, no.
I don't know anybody named Rachel, but don't give me your phone number, please.
Okay.
All right, Steven, you have a good one. Steve.
All right.
Sorry.
Thank you so much. Vroom, vroom.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Thanks for taking the time to ride along with us on another episode of Vroom Vroom Veer. For podcast info and show notes, be sure to head over to vvveer.com. That's VVER.com. Man, that's fun to say. And we'll catch up with you next time here on Vroom Vroom Veer.